How's it going, scale modelers and Siren enthusiasts? Welcome back to another video to host Ray. So today's video is another one of my Siren building discussions, and this one is actually different for a change. This one isn't one of the Thunderbolt Sirens or one of my paper Sirens. This is the Ratcliffe Models HL Scale 3T22 Siren Kit. This is the first time I build one of these, and I actually finished this just 2 days ago. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to talk to you guys about this and talk about the building process. So without further ado, let's get to it. So here you can obviously see that the 3T22 is roof mounted. I'll just say this, building the mount was actually extremely difficult compared to building the Siren, which was relatively easy. But yeah, everything fit well. The instructions were clear about stuff or how to assemble stuff, and no complaints whatsoever, so things went smooth. One thing I do want to point out though is while I was building the kit, I noticed that only the top intake here had one of the solenoid boxes for the 3T22, so I actually had to make a custom one out of styrene plastic, and you can kind of tell it's a custom one given by its kind of messed up shape. I had to make a custom one and put it on the bottom intake, which was kind of not irritating, but it was kind of annoying. I just didn't want to have to do that, and the piece was stubborn. It just wouldn't glue onto the intake, so that was even worse. But aside from that, everything went smooth. One thing I did notice is that there was a lot of flash in between like the horns and stuff, and a lot of flash on the interiors of the horns as well. I'm going to try and rotate the model to a point where you can see some of that, because I know I did have to leave some in one of the horns. Yeah, you can see it here on this side. You can see some of the flash right here on the edge of this horn and also in that one. I mean, I really can't complain about it though, because those are really small parts and they're hard to get to, so I guess I can forgive that. Now let's talk about the mount for a bit. The mount is just a standard rooftop truss assembly, and I actually stole this design. Not stole it, but I was inspired by Ratcliffe himself, because on his website there is this image of a 3T22 ironically mounted on this same building. Obviously his is modified to be a fire station, but it has a mount similar to this one, so I decided to copy it. And I had to make my mount out of spare plastic parts, and it did not exactly go well. I'll just say it that way. It was really difficult, but I'm proud of it. I'm glad it finally got finished. And you can definitely tell this was kind of DIY, or you can partially tell it was DIY. I'm going to try and show you guys the best I can. You can see that this leg here is kind of tilted inwards towards the rest of the mount, so that's kind of messed up. But aside from that, it came out pretty smooth. You guys might have noticed that I actually didn't put any conduit wires on this setup like I usually do, and the reason for that was because, one, the setup was complicated, and two, I feel like conduit wires would have been really intrusive and invasive to like the setup look, and I kind of wanted to add a little nod back to my old days where I didn't do conduits on setups and stuff, so yeah, I just decided not to put wires on it. But let's discuss the control boxes. So this is the included control box with the Federal Signal logo that I tried painting on there. An RC5. I should have put another, whatever it's called. And I'm not sure what exactly it's called, but it modulates the solenoids for the high-low function. But I decided not to do that because, I mean, really, I just didn't feel like it. So there's that. And there's also, I should mention, this box wasn't included, but this one was. And the last thing I want to talk about is this power disconnect. This is the first time I've done a power disconnect with a switch on, so it was really small and relatively easy for me because my fingers are used to like moving small parts and stuff. Again, it was one of those stubborn parts that I didn't want to glue, so it took me a while to build, but it was a fun detail, and I'm glad I have it on there. I'm going to transfer back to the head for a little bit. I want to discuss the cosmetic features I put on there. Yeah, the head is... or not the head, but just the Siren itself. I'm so used to saying the head from like the Thunderbolt reviews. So I'm going to start off on the left and move to the right. I think I got that right. Yeah. So up here I have a Civil Defense logo, and down here I also have another Civil Defense logo. I've considered removing this one actually because it isn't really visible. So yeah, let's move on to the rest of the Siren. Here you can see one of the solenoid boxes and the other one down here, and there is a motor badge right here, or a motor tag, that was seen on most, if not all, 3T22s. And over here on the right side, there's no Civil Defense logo down here because there is an information badge which was seen on some 3T22s, and of course the Civil Defense logo up here. So I did kind of go overboard on the logos, but honestly, I think it looks cool. And whatever you guys think, if you guys like it, cool. And if you don't like it, well, deal with it because that's not my problem. I'm sorry. Anyway, last thing I'd want to talk about is the antenna here. I just decided to add this huge antenna because it looks cool. That's all I really did for that. So that's all I really have to say. Overall, it's a nice kit. I really liked it, and I recommend it to basically any modeler who has some modeling experience under your belt. If you want to do this as a first-time kit, you also can do that. Just make sure you're patient. Be patient with these things because every once in a while you'll run into problems. But that's really all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to drop those down below. Like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned for more Siren content, and I'll see you guys later.